Tonight, I'm Ellen McCauley in Syracuse, New York. It's Friday night, and we've got a room full of people who want to be here and be healthy. And part of the thing that I really believe we need to tackle is the underlying issues. You can buy prepackaged foods, and that doesn't handle your underlying issues. You can go somewhere and have a meeting and talk about building a salad, but doesn't say why you wanted those 5 Snicker bars. And I sat 5 years through a program where I went to a meeting every week, and I wanted to say, can I talk about my problems? Because I got problems. And one of the things about Pray It Off is that every week we try to tackle something else to make us look at ourselves. And the thing this week, and one of the things I want to talk about is clutter. And it's spring, and it's an old saying that spring cleaning, everyone spring cleans. But I want to talk about spring cleaning, not just our houses, our drawers, our garages, spring cleaning our head, spring cleaning the way we look at life. And I want to talk first about the mental clutter of defeatist language. I want to discourage you from thinking discouraging thoughts and speaking defeatist language about yourself and to yourself. People say, I'm not a very organized person. I'll never get this mess cleaned up. It's like global statements. I always, I never, you always, you never. I could say global statements about myself. I have always gained the weight back. Always. Wait a minute. You know, I've been here. I can't use this as an always. I'm not going to say I always. Here's what I'm going to say. There were times, most of my life, where I lost weight and gained it back. Now it's different. Now is different. Take care that you're not using permanent language for a temporary problem. If you say to yourself, well, I'm not very organized, you can catch yourself and replace those permanent words with things like, you know, I'm working on improving my organization skills. It's an area where I need to improve. You know, one person I was sharing with another group member tonight about how there's a person we both know, and she just exudes the faith of God and Christianity. And one of the things I like to say about myself is, instead of saying, well, I'm not that good, or I'm just a terrible person compared to her, I say, I'm working on being more Christ-like. I'm working on being a better person. And then if you make a mistake, like people say, oh, I just blew it this week. I just ate everything in sight. I blew it. I'm an idiot. And I say, really? Because you could say, you know, I made a mistake. What did I learn from it? What did I learn from last week? Well, you learn you don't like it when your pants are hard to button. And you learn that you just don't like the way you feel the next day. So we're trying to replace this negative thinking, this negative self-talk with how can I improve. And then we're talking about things too. Now you have purchased things, you have acquired things. Like you go to the store and you buy a DVD player. You purchase that. Acquired. Your mother goes, you want my DVD player? I don't want it anymore. You acquired it. Allowed to come into your home. You know, the mail, the stacks of mail. And this author here says, to the category of allowed clutter, I'd like to add that mental clutter can be as time-consuming as email spam messages and even more damaging. And he's going to focus on worry, because worry is so much what this group does. We're worried about so many things, the future, our job, our weight, logging, everything. And this person talks about receiving a notice from a bank, and he was stewing and getting all upset and just making a mountain out of a molehill. And when he called up about it, it had nothing to do with what his real account, and it was all just an old thing, and it took 1 second. And it reminded me, my mother got so upset because, you know, my sister has checks, and my mother's name was on it, and my sister's been at St. Camille's for 15 years. My mother writes 1 check on her account a month. It took 15 years to go through a box of checks. So she ordered a new box of checks. They wrote the wrong name on it, and they charged her $25.20, which I thought was outrageous. So I worked a staggered shift on Monday. Where was I? Over to my mom's. Now my mom was all worried and all stewing. Oh, this is awful. It's got the wrong name. Oh, this is awful. I said, Mom will take care of it. Mom will take care of it. But then I started worrying and stewing. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to march right in there, and I'm going to say, what the heck do you think you're doing? What about senior citizens? What about their rights? What about my handicapped sister? I mean, I was so long. So I go in and I'm like, I'd like to speak to the manager, please. And she's like, oh, sure, come right over. And I very calmly explained, you know, the checks were the wrong name and that it was $25.20. And she's like, I'm so terribly sorry. Let's reorder the checks in the right name for free, and I'll credit the account this $25.20. How easy is that? And my mother was doing. I was going, I'm gonna say, I'll get Dick Kenyon on it. I'll call him up and I'll put it in the press. And we just paint these metal pictures before you even do it, before you even go there, before they even say all is well. And I had prepared this meeting before, and I laughed at myself because I was doing exactly that. And if I had each person go around the table, I'm sure you could find one incident this week where you did the same thing. Worry is a misuse of our imagination. And I love this one. Would much rather have been creating something constructive with all that energy. I am a big believer that action conquers fear. Do something. Don't wait. Make the call. Go to the bank. Sometimes having all the information becomes the cure. Action conquers fear. So many people in this group want to be at their goal weight. They want to be healthy, but then they're not doing any action. They're not doing the eating less, moving more, asking God to help. Action is chain reaction. All right, and then they talk a little bit more about worry and stress, and I love this part. So many of us have mental clutter because we don't write anything down. And they have a bad habit of keeping too many things in your head and just not writing them down. And it's like a circus performer with plates spinning around. Oh, I got to remember to pick up the kids at school, and oh, what about that practice? What about this? And then he said it's like reading a book. And then you go, I'm on page 52. And all day you walk around, I'm on 52, 52, 52, I'm on page 52, I'm on 52, I'm on 52. Who does that? You get a bookmark. And sometimes people don't, you have a bookmark, they use a gum wrapper. They use a scrap sheet of paper, they rip a little sheet of paper. I see people in church ripping out the old page in the bulletin, I mean the church missal, because we're not on that day anymore, and I saw someone put that in for a bookmark. People will do anything for a bookmark. So the thing is, we need to write things down. That is one area where I do not have any stress. People are amazed. How did you remember that? I write it down. And like if you're walking by me and you go, oh, and I won't be here next week, and the book is in there, and people are talking to me. If I don't write that down, I'm going to say to you, where were you? That's why I like it when people leave me little notes or email me or call me. Because there's 95 people in the group, and if you're walking by saying you won't be there and I don't write it down, odds are I might not remember. So the point is, a lot of people use these electronic Palm Pilots. They're doing things on their iPhone. Good for you. God bless you. I want to write it down. I write it down, and I've showed people this before. I write it down, and when I do it, this is my home day timer, and I have a huge work day timer. And when I do something, I highlight it. And when it's not highlighted, it's not done. And you can go back and see. Also, people might say, what's written on that little yellow sticky? For over almost 25 years, Bob has written me a little note every single day, and I put it in my day timer. Isn't that sweet? And he wrote, I'll even read what it says today. He said, TGIF, thank you for always helping me. I love you forever and beyond. See, and that gets you going. A little incentive. Okay, you need to have some trusted capturing tools to grab those thoughts. Oh, everyone is just like wishing their husband wrote them a little yellow sticky. But I'm grabbing it back in, everybody. Here we go. You need to have some trusted capturing tools to grab those thoughts and tasks before they become more spinning plates in your head. This is curious. At the first meeting, I told everyone that the meeting was tonight. It's written in there, Friday. Oh. How many times do you look at it? It's written down. I've reminded people. Someone even ran into somebody in Walmart and they said, you go in to pray it up later? And they go, it's not later, it's Friday. Really? Why is it a surprise? It's written down. Okay. I'm going to stop there, Bob.